All right, everyone. So, real quick, I just want to do a review of the program that I just finished here in prep. We are just under 8 weeks out of prep. I ran John Meadows' Project Colossus from about 16 weeks out to now. It is a 6 week program. So, really, I guess it was more like 14 weeks out until now. Basically, real quick review of this program. It is it's a 6 day program, just like a lot of John Meadows programs. But what he wants you to do is drop one of the pump days. So it is a pull push legs program. John always puts pull and legs separated by the push day, just for a recovery standpoint. Some programs start with legs, some with pull. This one started with pull, and then you pick 2 out of the 3 pump days, basically either picking your two biggest weaknesses or dropping your one biggest strength typically. So run as a 5 days program. So how I did it was this one right here. So pull push legs, and then pull pump day, and push pump day. For me, the way my work schedule is set up, these 3 days were on my 3 day weekend. I work 4 10s. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I took Tuesday off. Wednesday and Thursday, I would train after work, and then Friday off. And it started over like that. So this is a bit of a lower volume program than some of his other programs, and I'll go over just like one of the days real quick. I'm not going to show the whole thing. You guys can go and find this program on your own. I would say it's well worth the money, or if you're, internet savvy, you can find it. I'm not going to tell you where to find it, but you can find it. So, for example, on pull workout, there are, it's one working set for low row, one working set, cluster set for rack pulls, 2 sets of banded chin ups, assisted chin ups, 2 sets of Meadows rows, 2 sets of pull downs, and then abs and biceps. The main change that I did for this program, uh, just something that I like to do in general, is I swap the arm work. So I put triceps with my back days and biceps with my push days. I just find that splitting it up that way keeps my elbows and bicep tendons, forearm tendons a little bit happier. It also, then instead of, because, you do a little bit of bicep work, as you're pulling with your back movements, obviously a bit of tricep work as you're doing your pressing chest movements, things like that. So by flipping those and doing triceps with back, biceps with chest and shoulders, arm muscles are a little bit fresher. I can push them just a little bit harder, and then the volume is spread out a little bit. So essentially, you could think of it, you're kind of training your arms almost like 4 days a week that way, because back, you get a tiny bit of bicep work with it, and then your triceps also on that day, then vice versa for, chest and triceps, but then, the actual direct work is swapped. So it's kind of spread out a little bit more frequently. That is a change that I like to do. Not for everybody, but is one thing that I like to do. Bottom line up front, this program, I absolutely loved it. I really did. It is a 6 week program. You run all the way through. I'll bring up my logbook here and show you guys how I tracked my training. So I just use Google Sheets, just do a little spreadsheet for the program. I've done a paper logbook before. I'm honestly just not a big fan of it. I prefer just having the Google Sheets app on my phone. I can pull it up, update everything. It's a lot easier to quickly flip week to week, see, hey, where was my strength last week? Am I actually progressing, still doing progressive overload? All of those things, and I don't have to bring a logbook with me to the gym. My gym bag is already full enough. So overall, really great program. I love the lower intensity, or sorry, the lower volume, higher intensity. I personally respond well to that. Just psychologically, it's more fun for me. I put more work into it, I find, and because the way my work and life schedule is, it's better if I can limit the amount of time that I'm in the gym training, especially when I also have cardio on top of that, posing, tanning, everything like that. Got a 1 year old at home, pregnant wife at home, all those things like that. And training after work during my work week, the 2 pump days. Uh, I am on the razor's edge basically to get those workouts done, get my last couple meals in, and then get to bed at a reasonable time. Especially now that I'm moved to fasted cardio, I'm getting up pretty early in the morning. So overall, really good program. It is structured exactly how you would expect from any other John Meadows program. I'll bring it back up here. And we'll go through, like for example, we'll go through a push day here real quick and a leg day, just show you guys a little bit more. So that was the pull day. We already scrolled through that. Push day, John Meadows, he likes to have kind of like an activation movement a little bit. It's, typically not going to be a barbell or Smith machine. It's probably going to be a bit of dumbbell, which I'll comment on that in a little bit more because John Meadows loves his dumbbell work. Um, and then moving on to maybe a more heavier movement, an incline barbell press, something like that. I did a lot of Smith pressing for barbell instead for this program. And then what he goes into called supermax pump. You're almost always going to have an intensity technique on whatever that is. And then he likes to finish it off with some sort of stretch movement, often having hold in the stretch, or for after the back movement, do a hanging loaded stretch on a pull-up bar, for like a minute 90 seconds added weight, just stretching everything out. That's how it's structured. So if you've ever run any other John Meadows programs, it's structured pretty much the same. Legs always starting with some sort of leg curl. Did a lot of squatting in this one. I did Smith machine squat on this. A lot of intensity techniques on leg press, hack squat, that sort of thing. And then, John Meadows is a big fan of his single leg work, a lot of split squats. This intensity technique that he did for the split squats, it's different than his typical Bulgarian splits. Split squats to the death. Whatever. I'm not going to fumble over my words here for 5 minutes here. But this one was like 3 second eccentric, come up halfway, 3 count pause there, then come back all the way down, then all the way up. So 1.5 reps with the pauses. And instead of doing a certain number of reps, it was just 90 seconds per leg, and it was absolutely brutal. I think this came up 3 times in this program. So I really liked that. The thing that I did not like in this program very much is if we go back to, I think it was here in the push day, I think he started off with it. Uh, I'm not a huge fan of dumbbell pressing. It is a great movement, it works really well. But ever since I had my surgery on my wrist, where snapped that arm, got a steel plate, 6 screws, tore a ligament, all that stuff, I have really poor wrist stability in this side, and dumbbells just don't work very well for it. But I'm still strong enough to press pretty heavy weights. So there's this weird disparity there. And one thing that I really disliked about this program was the amount of dumbbell pressing drop sets that John had in this. That is just so much energy that you're using moving those things in and out of position. If you have a training partner that can help you get things in position, I think it would work really well. I train by myself 99.9% of the time, so on this first workout, one movement, my entire shirt was just drenched in sweat from the beginning, and it kind of really sapped my strength from there. So I did modify that a little bit. It was another modification that I did, but overall, really fantastic program. Built. I do not think it is a coincidence that once I started this programming and turning up the intensity, another notch or two, I really saw a big change in my physique and progress in this prep. Um, Basically, for context, I was, 14, 15, 16 weeks out, whatever. My coach, Tommy Stiles, said, hey, you're already training hard, but I want you to bring it up another level or two. I think the phrase he used most often was, "I want you to be stepping on people's throats for training," just really training hard. And that was a mistake that I made in my last prep, was especially near the end, those last 6 weeks here, which I'm coming up on now, and I got to be careful to not repeat this mistake. Was I didn't train hard enough? Didn't train, I didn't bitch out or anything like that, but I could have trained just that another notch or two harder. Think I would have had a fuller, sharper look, would have retained that much more muscle. So I'm not making that mistake this prep. So overall impressions of this program, absolutely fantastic. This might be my favorite John Meadows program that I've ever ran. So if you like a lower volume training style, you respond well to it. Every single set in here pretty much is two failure RPE 10 or above, with the high intensity techniques going beyond failure. Uh, Eliminates a lot of the guesswork. You don't got to guess like, oh, was that 1 or 2 reps left? Like, oh, I looked at the video. It's actually more like 5 reps, whatever. Just take it to failure. It's super, super simple. One thing that I really like about that. So, fantastic program. I'm really glad I ran it. I'm going to run it again at some point for sure. Uh, Next step for me for the rest of this prep to close things out, I am going to be going back to good old Gamma Bomb, one of the, I'd say it's almost certainly the most well known John Meadows program, either that or Creeping Death 2. Project Colossus, not as well known, so that's why I made this video, just to get it out there, because I think it's really underrated. I don't hear people talk about it a lot. So, Gamma Bomb, pretty similar setup. It's going to be pull, push, legs, little bit higher volume, uh, more of like working up to a top set. So 3 or 4 working sets where the first 2 or 3 are tough but not to failure, and then one all out set, as opposed to 2 all out sets with just like lower rep feeder sets moving into that. And then Gamma Bomb, of course, has I'll be running the first half of it, which for the pump days is a chest, back, shoulders day, and then an arms pump day. So rearranging something, going to see how it works out for the rest of prep. I think it's going to go really well. So to summarize, Project Colossus, absolutely fantastic program. I totally recommend it. Just give it a shot, give it your all, and I think you'll have amazing results.